Uh, it seemed weird, yes. You would have done at least some things differently. Curiosity satiated, you turned back to your plate and finished your own creation. By the time you were done, Cope had already cleaned up his workstation. He turned to face you, studying your sandwich briefly. He gave it an incredulous look, but didn't question you about it. Good. What is incredulous? I just want to know if he's judging me. I gotta know if this man be judging me. Incredulous. Unwilling or unable to believe something. My sandwich is great. Screw you, man. Done? Yeah.
Cool.
He waited as you quickly to return the ingredients and cleaned a few utensils. Then the two of you collected your respective plates. You both agreed on heading upstairs to hang out in your room. We should not eat in my room, but we're doing it anyways. You and Cove entered your bedroom while balancing your food on the plates. Nothing fell, so it was a successful trip. Cove took a seat on the ground and stretched out on the hardwood floor in an attempt to keep a bit cooler. You know what? It's hardwood floor. You know what? It's fine. It's not carpet. He immediately took a bite of his sandwich and chewed, then hummed happily. The sandwich is really good. At least it's something. At this point, you sat down and started on your own sandwich. You nodded. You were enjoying your you shrugged your shoulders. You shrugged up your nose. Did not turn out respected. You nodded. You're enjoying yours too. Of course, I would enjoy mine. Obviously, you were a pro at making sandwiches. He leaned back on his hands while chewing and glanced around. His every movement was sluggish. Want to do something? It seemed the plan of not doing anything at all had already worn thin despite his lack of enthusiasm. Usually I'd be like what? He rolled his head back, looking up at the ceiling. What about tic-tac-toe? You laughed at the suggestion, but went along with it. Yeah, neither of you had much energy and more taxing. You originally humored it. You thought it was a nice idea. Sure, why not? You laughed at the suggestion, but went along with it. I feel like I'd have the same. I'd go with the first one. You put your plate to the side and pulled out some markers and scrap paper. Yeah, as you laid everything on the floor, he scooted back to make more room in front of you. Cope picked one of the markers with his right hand while keeping a half slice of the sandwich in his left. I want to be X's, so you can go first. I think that's fair. That's not how the game works. X's always go first. Okay, that works for me. Prepare to note down your first move, your marker hovering over the paper. You always go middle first. At first round, you were about to take another bite of your sandwich when a thought occurred to you. I wonder if anyone turned off the TV downstairs. The TV was on earlier, but no one was really watching, and everyone started leaving the living room. I know I didn't turn it off. It might still be on downstairs with no one there. Cove smiled crookedly at that. Poor show, playing with no one around to enjoy it. What was it? He squinted off into the middle distance, trying to recall the show's name. I feel like it was some kind of crime-solving drama. Cove nodded sleepily, his eyes closed, then opened again with some effort. Can you give any specifics? Maybe I can guess it. Well, you rested your chin on your open palm, groggily thinking as hard as you could. Are we gonna pass out? I remember there was a woman with long blonde hair, I think. She was the one solving crimes, like as a detective or something. There were scenes in a police station because someone got arrested. You lost in the silence, then both of you thought, then Cove chuckled. It wasn't that funny, but you joined in the laughter anyway. I don't know what that is. Me neither, and I just saw it. Another round came and went, and how? They act like these are lasting so long. Another round came and went, and Cove grumbled as he readjusted himself. His features were twisted in a grimace. I feel so sticky. Ugh, I'm gonna be stuck onto this floor forever now. I'll have to charge you rent then. You can be my new roomie if you want. Looks like we'll both be stuck here forever then. I'm sticky too. No way, I'll peel you off if I have to. You just smiled at his whining. I feel like at that age, I feel like I sweat a lot more now than I did as a kid. So, I probably joke about that. Yeah. I'll have to charge you rent then. Yeah, how much? $50. I can't afford that. That's pretty good rent, honestly. Well, you gotta pay up if you want to stick around. Cove shook his head at your terrible plan and went back to the game instead of answering further. Then you returned to the game. It's just gonna be a cat's game, isn't it? Cove spoke once more, catching your attention. He was peering down at the piece of paper between you, his expression thoughtful. It's gonna be a cat's game. You know, tic-tac-toe is such a weird name for a game. What does it even mean? Maybe they named it that because people played it with ticks and tacks. I've always wondered about that. I'll have to look it up later. It's a really old game. No one's sure where the name came from. I'll probably answer with the last one, but the first one's probably true. Really? Nobody knows? Not for sure. Cove sounded impressed that you knew that piece of trivia. You sat up straighter under the weight. Is that true? Because I feel like that first answer sounded really true. Straight under the weight of his stare. By this point, Cove had finished his sandwich. Yours was almost gone too, but now you were getting thirsty. You brought it up to your neighbor. Should we go downstairs to get some drinks? I was thinking that too, but I don't really want to get up. Me neither. You looked over at him, narrowing your eyes with false suspicion. But hey, what happened to you not being able to get up ever again because you were stuck to the floor? That's still true. I mean, we're not actually going, are we? I only thought about it. You rolled your eyes and dropped the issue, defeated. Cove grinned a little at your disappointment over his victory. So, cat's game. Oop, it's a tie. Are you out of it? I know I didn't try that hard. Screw you, man! He smiled at you in an amused way. You somehow weren't surprised by that, despite Cove being the one who suggested the game in the first place. He started to yawn, his hand coming up to cover his mouth. It quickly transitioned into a small laugh. You understood why, yawning just as he said he was feeling disinterested, was kind of a funny coincidence. You laughed along with Cove. Well, you should have taken the challenge more seriously. You're the one who wanted to play in the first place. You shook your head at him. You're the one who wanted to play in the first place. Cove just grinned and flopped onto his bed, leaving his marker on the floor beside him. You stayed seated, looking your friend over as he stretched himself out. You really are so tall now. Cove snickered a bit at the random topic, propped himself up onto his elbows to gaze your... What did that say? He propped himself up onto his elbows to meet your gaze. Why, you're even bringing that up. You shrugged and made perfect sense to you to bring it up. My moms were talking about me and Elizabeth growing up, getting bigger and stuff. What kind of stuff? Well, Mom only likes women, and Ma likes women too, but not just women. Yeah? Since the two of you were engaged in conversation, Cove got back into his sitting position. He brought a knee up and rested his arm onto it. Atop it, a wistful expression overtook his face. I wonder when I'll know what I feel about that kind of thing. You don't know? Cove shook his head. I've heard at some point you're supposed to start liking types of people, guys or girls or whoever.
I don't know.
But I haven't. Nothing's changed. Maybe I have to grow up more? Maybe you just don't like anybody, or maybe you like all types of people. That's normal too. Cove seemed to appreciate that thought, if the smile that appeared on his lips was any indication. Okay, what about you? Who do you like? He turned his attention to you, looking encouraging. You were starting to have physical attraction in a general way. You always seem to feel physical attraction in a specific cases and situation. You didn't really have physical interest in other people. You didn't think you could tell if you had an interest in people physically. I wonder what they mean by physically. Does that mean like sex? Because I know like at that age, like looks are kind of important to me, you know? But I don't think I could just have sex with anyone. But I'll go with the first one. You're starting to have physical attraction in a general way. Sorry, just gotta look at my phone real quick. You're starting to have romantic attraction in a general way. You only seem to feel romantic attraction in specific cases and situations. You didn't think you could tell if you had an interest in people romantically. I probably agree with that last one. Specifically when it came to how you felt towards boys. You found them attractive, you thought that you'd be happy with a guy someday. You found them attractive, but you hadn't thought about being with a guy. You weren't physically interested, but you'd be happy to have a romantic relationship with a guy. You weren't interested in guys. You generally weren't interested in guys, but there were special exceptions. I mean, definitely the first one. And how you felt towards girls. See, like, I don't know how to answer this. Because at this age, I was definitely certain I was straight, you know? But it was just like a point in like later high school where I was like, oh shoot, girls kinda are hot. I don't even know what I am now. Like, when I talk to my friends about it, I'm just like, I just want to go through life unlabeled and whatever happens, happens. That last option might work actually. You definitely weren't interested in girls, but there were special exceptions. No, I think because we're playing 13-year-old me, we're gonna say I'm not interested in girls. For people who aren't exclusively male or female, you found them attractive. You thought you'd be happy. So I'd probably go with that too, just because like at that age, I just didn't really think about non-binary people. You know, it wasn't really like a thing a lot when I was 13. You turned your attention to Cove. He was waiting patiently for your response. You explained how you felt to Cove. I'd rather not talk about it. I feel like I'd pretty open to talk about it. He nodded understandingly at your attempt describing how you felt. Then he scratched the back of his head sheepish. I'm not really sure how we ended up talking about all that when we started out just playing tic-tac-toe. But it was good, I think. I think so too, you shrugged. It was awkward. The conversation had a mind of its own. You just nodded quietly. I'd probably just nodded quietly. Cove chuckled a little bashfully. He glanced around, clearly scrambling for something else to say. So have you learned any songs on your flute lately? Oh, you remember. Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you brought it up. The conversation took a lighter turn after that, and it felt like you got closer that afternoon. Finally, the blazing sun began to set. To your relief, the air cooled down a bit as well. I was just thinking about like the time I had a conversation with like one of my closest friends about sexuality, but that happened a lot later. Definitely not in middle school. You pulled yourself off the floor, as did Cove, with some minor complaint. You both stretched your arms, groaning, and yawned into your hands. You glanced out your window, briefly taking in the soft red pinks and purples of the late afternoon sky. Somehow you had made it through the scorching hot days in one piece. Cove turned towards you, motioning towards your window with his chin. Wanna go outside? It might be better out there than it is in here now. Sounds good. I could really use some fresh air. The two of you took your time, heading downstairs. You stopped briefly to grab a drink of water, and continued on your way. You stepped outside, one after the other, your destination being the familiar hills behind your house. This time of day, it was quiet. Quiet outside, the flowers being blew gently in the wind, petals trembling but stubbornly hanging in there. You felt the breeze cool your heated skin, and you relaxed your shoulders. Cove closed his eyes, releasing a deep breath. I really love it out here. I do too. You do? That's surprising, he said jokingly. Your opinion has changed since you were first on this hill. You quietly enjoyed the moment. I'm trying to remember, like, I feel like I had a phase where I was super sarcastic. I feel like I'm not like that anymore, honestly. It was fun. But I don't think it was this age. Maybe it was. I'm gonna go for it. You do? That's surprising. I'm trying to do the tone. Cove chuckled a bit, nodding. Tendrils of his hair danced with the wind. A beat passed, but his gaze didn't stray from your own. His voice was impossibly soft when he spoke up again. I'm glad I met you, Z. You're really important to me, you know. You blushed at the same end. I feel the same. That's so nice of you to say. He smiles out. You're being too sweet. Especially to me, Cove. When it comes to talking about emotions, I'm so closed off as a person that I'm just gonna be like, you're being too sweet. To your surprise, he slowly shook his head. It's not sweet, it's just the truth. Then Cove rested an arm on one of your shoulders, leaning against you. Even as the sun disappeared completely and the sky darkened, you and Cove remained side by side for as long as you could You possibly could. Man, those first two, I don't know what to unpack in the next three.